And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I've been enjoying the new merging of technology with board and card games with the usage of apps with smartphones and iPads and things. But this game here, Bycatch, is not a game that uses an app per se. It needs a camera phone, but any camera phone will do. You can have a flip phone as long as there's a camera on it in this game. And that really intrigued me. I thought that was a really cool idea for a game where you were going to be able to use your phone, stick it behind someone else's card, take a picture of those cards, and use that to figure out what they had. An interesting idea. Does it make it for a good game? There are two decks of cards in the game. One deck is a small deck of suspects. You'll have actually 3 plus the number of players that you'll put here. These suspects are numbered from 1 to 9. Each has a different picture. These same pictures are going to be in the draw pile of all different kinds of people. I think they tried to run the gamut of different types of people who might be innocent folks, but as you can see, this woman here, as evidenced by this flipped over card, is a terrorist suspect. So in this game, you're trying to protect the terrorist suspects in your nation. I'm not sure why, but anyhow, you are, and you're trying to eliminate those in other people's nations. The first thing you'll do on your turn is you'll draw a card and add it to your hand. You can draw the top card of the draw pile, or you can draw the top card of the discard pile. Then you have 3 different actions that you can do. One of these actions is called building a shelter. And if you can, on your turn, what you'll want to do is you want to play a run of cards in front of you. So it has to be at least 3, so I can play here a 2, 3, 4, 5 in front of me. Those cards are now in front of me, and there will be points at the end of the game. If I do a run, here's a 1, 2, 3, that includes the current suspect, I will take this card, put it on top of these, and draw a new suspect card. So now number 5 is the terrorist suspect for future rounds. Another thing you can do is you can surveil. Now what you need to do for surveillance is you're going to say surveil, and everyone has to freeze. You then take your camera phone, and one person is going to, you're going to be looking at someone else's hand. And so they have their hand of cards that they're going to hold where only they can see them. You're going to take your phone, and you're going to be taking a picture of those cards. If you can do so. There we go. Once you take the picture, let's see how good of a picture we took of those cards. Wow, okay, so that means that Vasel can't take a picture, but I see, okay, well, that's one of the suspects. I can maybe figure out what number it is based on that shirt. But that's what you're doing. So you can look at someone else's hand. Hopefully you're better at taking pictures with your phone than I am. After that, the third thing you do is you can order a strike on someone else's hand. You can take someone else's hand and pick 3 cards that are next to each other and reveal them. And if any of them matches the current suspect, hooray! You take that card, put it on top of them, those go away. If it doesn't match any of them, well then you just killed a bunch of innocent citizens. At the end of your turn, if you have more than 7 cards, you discard down to 7. If you have less than 5, you go up to 5. Have fun remembering that. Whenever you draw a suspect card, like this old man now is a suspect, so if I draw a suspect card into my hand, which is not happening anytime soon, where is an old man? I'm looking for an old man. Are you serious? Come on now. There we go. So I draw an old man into my hand. I then reveal and say, everyone, I got this guy. Throw him in the middle of the table and say, he's not allowed in my nation. I can refuse refuge to him. Everyone else puts a person down. You shuffle them, and then everybody gets one. And so somebody randomly has that person in their hand. You keep going until either if this pile runs out, you go. But when this pile runs out, everyone gets one final turn. Then shelters. Shelters are worth 20 points for the first 3 cards in them. 20 points for each extra one. So the shelter of 4 is worth 40 points. If a shelter has a suspect in it, like this one here, it's doubled. So this would be, again, 40 points because it's 20 for 3 cards times 2. If you kill a suspect with a strike, That's worth 100 points. However, you lose 10 points for each innocent victim that you took out. Whoever has the most points is the winner. I fear the theme itself is going to turn a lot of people off. Just pointing out, I mean, the fact that they picked terrorists here, I think they tried to cover their bases by having them all be different creeds and different, you know, from different cultures and things. But when you say a kid is a terrorist and then you're taking him out with a strike, that's going to be problematic for a lot of people, I think. The theme is ill-conceived. But the game itself just doesn't work. In fact, it's flat out bad. The idea of using the camera is a good one, and I like it, but the problem with that action is that is your action for a turn, and it's the most useless action in the game. If you want to win, you simply will draw cards until you get nice straights that you can play in front of you, or you'll take a wild guess and blow up 3 cards in someone else's hand. I mean, 3 cards gives you about a 33% chance of getting a terrorist who's out there. And that's worth 100 points. Yeah, the other 2 might not be terrorists, so then you just got 80 points on your turn. If all 3 of them are bad, you've got no points. But think about this. Let's say I get 1 of all 9 cards, right? That's 100 points minus 80. You still would get 20 points. Even if all you did was strike all the time, you're going to get points, and you're going to ruin other people's hands as you do that. There's no reason not to do the strike action. There's no reason to look at someone's hand before you do so, because if you do, they was, oh, look, oh, they got a suspect in their hand. Then someone else will just hit them, and it's a mess. Fortunately, the game isn't very long, but it wasn't well thought out at all. I think the idea of using the smartphone is a really nifty one. Not the smartphone, I'm sorry, the camera phone. And I would love to see maybe that used in every game, because pretty much everybody has a phone that takes a picture. And that's a really cool concept. But when it becomes the most useless action in the game, and when the game is simply more about random draw, and there's no humor or anything in the game, the artwork's fine. I think it's kind of it's an acquired taste, the artwork, but I mean, it's fine. But the theme kind of being edgy as it is, and then the game being poor, yeah, don't get this one. Dice Tower Judgment, horrifying!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door, yo!
Dear?